Hello, fellow poker enthusiasts. I'm Joel Smith, your host for The Final Table, the show made by and for weekend warriors, home game heroes, and low-stakes grinders chasing that next big score without quitting their day jobs. Whether you're crushing the 1-2 live games, battling micro-stakes online, or just trying not to tilt after a bad beat in your buddy's home game, this is your spot. We keep it real, no pro-level GTO solver talk, unless it's simplified for us mortals. Just practical tips, funny stories, and inspiration from players like you who turn a small buy-in into something memorable. Let's get this started. Welcome, everyone, and please welcome our guest, Eric Kassa. He's a local grinder from the state of North Dakota, here to share stories of his personal poker journey. Thanks for joining us, and how are you doing, Eric?
I'm doing all right. It's good to be here.
Well, we're certainly happy to have you. Let's start this out by having you tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from?
I grew up in Hankinson, North Dakota, which is currently I live in Wahpeton. So I got, mom and dad and my one brother. We all pretty much grew up playing cards. I used to play cards with my great grandma. We'd start off with like Kings in the Corner and play canasta, and then in high school we started playing like whist and smear and pinochle.
You've been playing cards for a long time, huh?
Playing cards for a long time, yep.
Does your immediate family, I know you've got a wife, right? Does she play too?
Yeah, my wife plays poker. We got two kids. One's 20 and the other one is 17, senior in high school.
Are they poker players as well?
No, we haven't really got into the poker playing with the kids. But
okay.
My wife and I, we play like twice a week at the local bar leagues, the free poker.
Play both online and live, or one
both
or the other?
Online and live, yeah. Okay. The online tournaments when we get the codes. So I play a little bit more on the Friday night than she does, but she plays that Friday free-for-all as well.
Yeah, those are some big fields to try to make it through, aren't they?
They are, yeah. Sometimes 200-300. So
it's crazy.
I mean, I enjoy the struggle a little bit with that.
What's your Texas Hold'em origin story? When did you get started at that?
I would probably say that I always liked watching poker on TV and reading books about poker, and then when I was 18, 19, the casino by Hankinson opened up, and you only had to be 18 to go out there. So I went out there a few times and played the Texas Hold'em, and they had 7-card stud and Omaha. Kind of really liked the game, learned the game, and then they changed the law to you had to be 21 to go out there. So that was kind of a little disappointing. But after a while, when I did turn 21, then I went back out there, did some college and stuff for a while, and then came back off and on. But really liked the tournament scene with that, and it was all limit back then. Not a no limit cash game, but
tournaments there too.
They did have tournaments, yeah. But yeah, they have tournaments that start at like 7:00, and then hopefully get the players to stay afterward to play the limit games, and they would be either regular 3-6 Hold'em or sometimes 3-6 high-low, Omaha high-low. You get a little more action that way. And they had different tournaments most nights of the week, like probably 4 nights it was Hold'em, and they had one night that was 7-card stud, and one night that was Omaha. And my wife and I actually, when we started dating, I took her down there, and we'd play the $5 tournaments. It was a $5 buy-in and a $5 rebuys for, I think, the first hour. So you could be into it for $25 or sometimes just $5 or $10. So, and it was a good socialization and good good time, good fun. So
Back in those days when you were dating early on, did you make sure you let her win so the date turned out a little better?
yeah,
Or are you
I
guys
don't think there was
competitive?
any of that letting anybody win. So yeah,
Okay.
we're both pretty competitive.
Do
And
you remember any big scores back in the day?
there was one, I think it was about a $4,000 win for it was no limit hold'em, or I think it could have even been the limit hold'em. They had these weekend warrior tournaments back then, and it was buy-ins anywhere from $100 to $400. So, and they'd have satellites for the big ones. So I won a few satellites, and then they had this World Series of Poker qualifier where you play every Saturday, and it was a $10 or $30 buy-in and $10 rebuys, and you got points if you were on the final table or whatever over the whole season, and then based on the season qualifiers, I think you needed 30 points to qualify, and the person who had the most points got like a bonus $1,000. And that first year they had it, I ended up winning the
Oh,
and it got down to me and another guy, and it was so close that we just agreed to whoever got the top prize, we would just split that 500 apiece. And
nice.
yeah, I ended up getting $500 for that. But then when we played off the for the seat, it was a gal by the name of Dorothy Brudvik who ended up winning that and going to Vegas for the seat. She was a nice gal. So
Yeah, that's a really neat opportunity to try to get to Vegas and play a big event though.
yep.
Did they do that for multiple years, or was that kind
I
of
think
just
they
a
did
1 year
it
deal?
for they did it for multiple years. I don't know if it was 3 or 4.
Oh,
So I played, I think, for the first 2. Never did win the seat, but it was a lot of fun. I did win some of the tournaments, and I was able
yeah,
to keep going. So
yeah. Have you done any studying or anything to try to improve your game, like when you were really focused on that series?
I've read quite a number of books. I've read
Hmm.
Doyle's, both of his books, Phil Helmus, Dan Harrington, and Dave Sklansky, TJ Cloutier. I've got probably 18 to 20 poker books.
You
I
sound
did a
like you
lot of
got a
studying.
library there.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you watch videos too, or just pretty much rely on book reading and playing?
I've started watching the videos now. It was
Okay.
a lot of just practice, and then I got a couple friends that we would discuss theories with, and
Oh,
I still do that today. You know, I've got a really
yeah.
really good friend that we bounce ideas off of, and so
Yeah, that seems to be a good way to improve your game pretty quickly is to get a group of friends that you run hands with, and it's amazing to me how different everyone's perspective can be on the same hand and how they would approach, trying to win that particular pot. Do you still play some live games outside of FPN?
I did when I was in Vegas, but not a. I mean, not a lot of live game for cash. I play a lot of tournaments. It's just the way to limit the risk, and I think you start playing cash games, you end up playing different than some people do, and I probably do too. Play a little different in a live game as opposed to the tournament structure. So
I feel like I'm in that same boat.
yeah, I was playing both cash games and the tournaments in Vegas, and sometimes the cash game is like, oh, I had ace king, and I flopped the king with the nut flush draw, and I check rate, or I bet the flop, I got called, and then I got check raised all in on the turn, and I'm like, oh, but
Mm.
I had most of my money in there, so I had to call, and the guy had flopped like a set of sevens, and
Oh,
$200 just gone like that. Where you buy in for a tournament and $200, you can play for 8 hours, and you feel like it's a little more worth it.
yes. I feel the same way about that.
Yeah, $200 gone in 5 minutes. Yeah, just not. It's a little disappointing.
Let's talk about your Las Vegas trip.
Yeah,
Tell me how it started out, what you did, what you played, how you qualified.
we played 2 of the bars in town here in Wahpeton, Terrace Lanes and the Eagles, and I ended up qualifying for both tournaments. One of them I qualified for a 30,000 chip stack, and then I had a scratch-off win of a royal flush where I got, or not a royal flush, but a straight flush where I got $200 and then another seat. I ended up with a 40,000 chip stack there. And then the other one, I had a win and then 2 qualifiers. I had a 40,000 chip stack in the Kings and Queens.
Yeah.
Then we played, we didn't get down there for the first tournament. I ended up flying in on Thursday, and that was when the high roller event was, a $350 buy-in, and you can qualify, and then there was a $5,000 top prize. And our flight got into Vegas at like 5:30ish, and we were looking for a taxi. We ran into a guy from, I think it was South Dakota. Well, I know it was South Dakota. I'm not sure if it was Millbank or where, but they had come for the Free Poker Network as well. So we ended up taking a cab with them and getting to the hotel. And I'm like, I'm gonna play this tournament. I brought my bag with me right into the tournament room, and I left it with the guys at the desk, and they're like, "Can you watch this?" I was like, "Well, I can't guarantee that anybody's not going to take it." I was like, "That's fine. I'm going to play the tournament. If my clothes are there, they're there. If they're not, no big deal." So
let me get the timing of this right. What time did you say you got to the casino? About
it was probably like 6.
6. And what time did the tournament start?
Tournament started at 5.
Nice.
So I got a late reg about 6:30. So, and blinds were, I think we started with 40 or 50,000 if we bought the add-on. And blinds were like 500 and 1,000, and it was right at a break time. So first hand I picked up was 10-9 of clubs, and everybody folded to me. So I bumped it up to 2,500, and they only got called by the big blind. And flop nothing. I bet. The guy calls me. The big blind calls. It turns a 9. He checks again. I bet. He calls. River is another blank, a small one. But I'm like, well, if he called me, I'll just check it down. I'm probably good here. But yeah, I flipped it over, and he was pissed. He was like,
oh, really?
Yeah, he was a little pissed because I raised his big blind and with a less than premium hand, I guess. But
a continuation bet, and he thought he should win, huh?
Right. So,
well,
yeah.
Welcome to the table.
Yep.
Somebody's got to gamble, right?
Right. And then I ended up taking him out later when I raised with pocket or ace king, and he shoved with jacks, and I'm like, well, I'm here to gamble, flopping a king or whatever, and then he ended up rebuying because I think there was still time to rebuy at that time.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, that was a good start to the tournament.
Yeah, and then our table broke, and then I got on the feature table. I'm like, oh, sweet. I'd never been on a feature table, and I was kind of hoping to get on one this time since I knew they had it. And then I could text my friends and family back home and have them watch and hopefully not screw up too bad.
Did you enjoy that experience being on that feature table?
I did, and I watched it back, and I was able to critique myself a little bit and see the places where I could have played better and improved. And then being able to go back and see what other people had, that was a real unique experience. So there was the one time there was a bet and a raise, and I had limped with ace 10 after 2 or 3 people had limped, and I'm like, well, I'm in the cutoff, and I'm like, books probably say that if you're gonna play this hand, you should probably raise and punish the limpers, and I'm like, well, I don't want to do anything stupid on TV. I'm like, I'll call, and then flop comes 2 hearts and an ace. Person bets, and then this other gal raises. I'm like, shit. If I call, and she went all in. If I call her all in, it's probably going to get this other person to call all in too, because she was short stacked, and I'm like, well, I can just pick a better spot, you know. And I folded, and then I watched it back, and the first person who bet had a heart draw. The other person had an ace deuce, but she had the ace of hearts, so she had that blocker there where she could really bluff it well. So I'm like, I could have had that one, but if I call, maybe the other person with the flush draw calls because they're getting better pot odds now, and it's like ended up just letting it go. Didn't cost me too much.
How long did you play on the feature table?
I think
did you
it was
stay
like
there all the way till the end?
Yeah, all the way till the end.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So how many hours?
I think it was like 6.5. Yeah. So
I would imagine you got pretty comfortable after being there that long.
Yeah.
Kind of more or less forget that you're even on the feature table, that people are watching, other than having to make sure to put your cards in the right spot.
That's right. Yeah, you got to put your cards in the right spot and then kind of just relax and fold the ones that aren't so good and play the ones that are, and it's just a game again. Put the nerves away.
Yeah, the interesting part of being on that table is that you might be nervous, but guess what? Just about everybody else on that table is nervous too. So let's fast forward a bit. You make it to the final table, the official final table, even though you'd been there for 5 hours probably, or 4 hours.
Yeah.
How was your chip stack at that point?
I think it was about average, maybe a little. Yeah, probably just about average. Not anything big and nothing real short. There was a couple instances prior to that where I had gone somewhat super short. A guy pushed all in, and it was like for 37,000, and I had about 200. So it was about a fourth to a fifth of my chip stack, and I had pocket eights, and I'm like, yeah, I think he's pushing with 2 overcards, and I can take a flip here. And he ended up having pocket jacks, and I lost. So that took me down to like 150, 160. And then a few hands later, this two people get all in with pocket jacks against that guy's aces, and his aces hold up, and then the one gal with pocket jacks was short stacked. And then Tom Brimmel, who I play with at the Eagles, and I think you probably play with him too sometimes. Yep. So he limped, and then this gal shoves, and I pick up ace jack in the big blind, and I'm like, well, I don't want to play this against 2 people. And she's got about 40,000, and I've got probably about 200 again. And I shove, and then Tom calls as well. He overcalls, and he's got less than I do, but he's got ace queen, and the other gal had pocket jacks, which kind of kills my hand.
Yeah.
Tom ends up winning that hand, and I get down to like 42,000 or something.
And that was on the final table?
And that was before the final table.
Okay.
And then I picked up pocket kings, and I end up limping. And then another person limps. Flop comes 8 deuce deuce, and the small blind bets into me like 40,000. I'm like, oh man, did I just screw this up? Because if he's got a deuce, I'm drawing very slim. And he bets 40,000. I got 42. I say call, and I throw it out there. I get 2,000 back, and then the other person calls, and then queen on the turn. The guy basically bets my 2,000 in, and
sure,
he shows queen 8 for a top 2 pair, and I end up winning that hand and getting back into. And then we go to the final table. I think I've got probably around 150, 180.
Okay. Yeah, a little bit of a roller coaster there then.
Yeah, a little bit. And I critique myself as like, well, I could have either just called that ace jack. I could have threw those 8s away, live and learn. But even, I don't know if it's the wrong move or not.
Ace jacks evidently are very tough for me to figure out what to do with too. I had several hands that didn't play out very well when I had ace jack, so that's definitely a spot I need to review a little as well.
Yeah.
Tell me about that final table now.
The final table, there was a lot of ship and chips around, raise and take it. There was a lot of that. And I ended up picking up ace king and shoving all in, because it was probably like 6 or 7 big blinds, and I get called by Jack 10, and a guy calls the all in, and he's left with 1,000 in chips. He ends up taking that 1,000 up to about 200 and some thousand. I'm like, wow.
Oh, wow.
And then he gets knocked out, and then blinds keep raising, and blinds are, 15 and 30, and Tom Brimmel is next to me, and he's on the short stack, and I got 30 out there in the big blind ante and 30 out there in my big blind. Everybody folds to him, and he shoves in for like 80,000. And I'm like, well, thinking, well, I'm probably going to have to call here. And then I look down, and I see 7 deuce. I'm like, oh, man. And I think about it, and I'm like, oh, I'm getting like 2.5 to 1. And if he's got just 2 overcards, king, queen, king, jack, ace, deuce, ace, 3, I didn't want to call, but I basically have to.
Yeah.
So I call, and we flip it over. He's got like 10-8, and the flop comes 10-7 little. Even if he would have just called and shoved on the flop,
You would have got it all in.
yeah, I would have called because I had second pair, and then end up hitting a deuce on the turn and taking him out.
I bet that was an interesting exit.
It was. Yeah. So, and then if you listen to the guy talking, he's like, well, what is he thinking about? What is he doing? And then I got to explain it to him later. But I mean, that's why we play the game. That's why we see the flop, and
right. Any 2 cards can win. There's no doubt.
Right.
We've all experienced that. How did the end of it play out?
Well, the end of it, I think we were down to 4 people, and there was 2 of them had $500,000, and 2 of them had $1 million. And there was like a really big pay jump. It was 5,000 for first and 15 for second, and then 1,000 and then 800. So, like a lot of tournaments, people do try to do a little bit of a chop.
Oh, sure.
We end up doing that.
Okay.
We end up giving everybody second place money and then playing for the rest.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, it was just when I'm sitting at $500,000, and if I go out now, it's $800. But if they're offering me $1,500 in case I go out now, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna take that all day because
Right.
it pays for the weekend.
Yeah.
And end up getting Steve and I heads up. Steve Bellin is pretty good, really good player, really aggressive. You need that aggression to win. So,
Did you guys play many hands heads up, or was it over pretty quickly?
we played a number.
Did you?
Yeah, and then
Okay.
I think I shoved in quite a few times, and I mean he raised a few times, and then I think he got up to like 400,000 was his stack, and I probably had like closer to 2 million, and then he shoved all in with a king high, and then I picked up ace king, so it was a pretty easy
perfect
call for me.
Yeah. I would imagine the play was serious for the final table too, partially because of that cool trophy they gave away.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
happen
you
to
wanna
have
see
that
it?
thing handy? Yeah, let's
I
see
do.
that.
Oh.
Yeah, they've got some great trophies for nationals.
Yeah.
Look at that. And it sounded like I think they called this an inaugural event, but I bet they're going to have this again.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, and they had let me look at my notes here. Yeah, it looks like they had 63 players. Is that what you heard too?
I think it was 63. Yep.
That's a good number for the first time having that with the higher buy-in.
Yeah.
So hopefully that thing continues to grow and prize pool gets bigger and they keep up with those really sweet looking trophies. I'd love to have one of those in my trophy room, no doubt about it. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
How did the rest of the weekend go for you and your wife?
For me and my wife, we ended up being on the feature table for the tag team tournament. So that was interesting and neat. We didn't really do as well as you did, but
We got lucky.
it was fun. So we were up and down a little bit on that tournament, and I ended up kind of getting in a couple hands, and I noticed when I was watching it back that the card readers aren't always correct. So I had a big decision. I had King Jack of Hearts, and the TV said I had Jack 8 of Heart or Jack 8 offsuit, and I'm like, if I had Jack 8, I wouldn't have been contemplating so hard. But I'm like, I don't necessarily want to go out on this hand. I don't want to go out. I don't want to be the one to go out and cost my wife the tournament either. And I think she felt the same way. But I ended up folding the King Jack of Hearts, and the guy ended up showing pocket kings. So it was a good laydown on my part.
Yeah, real good laydown.
And then she ended up going out. She had the best hand when she called off her chips. So I don't, I can't blame her or anything like that. There is no blame. You're a team.
No.
So
Right. Yeah, that's what I keep telling my wife too when we play those is as long as you get it in good, that's the best you can ask for. After that, It's up to the luck factor.
Yeah. And then I played the Royal Court. I ended up having a 60K stack, and I got it up pretty good. I think it was like 220, 250. And then I had pocket jacks, and I ran into pocket queens and doubled up somebody. And then 2 hands later, I called her raise with ace 10 suited, and the flop came ace king 10, and she bet. And I should have been a little patient, I think, and I should have just smooth called.
Yeah.
And then seen what happened. But I didn't. I shoved, and she didn't snap call, but she did end up calling. She had pocket 10s for bottom set.
Oh.
And so it was kind of a cooler.
Yeah.
It's like you need 2 big hands, but
tough to flop 2 pairs, so it's hard to think you're behind there. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
There was a straight possibility out there, and if I would have just smooth called, she might have thought I had the straight, and then if I shove on the turn, she might lay it down. It all depends. It's really hard. It's hard to lay down a set. The other big tournament on the weekend, I was doing well for a while, and then I had a flip with pocket 10s. Somebody else had pocket 10s. I called with ace king, and they ended up winning there. And I started with a 60K stack, and then I had a 30, and then I took that. Then our table busted, so you go to a new table, and I mean that's always takes a little bit to get used to. Another gal raised 15,000, and I had like 34 left, and I picked up ace queen of spades, and I shoved, and she's like, well, how much is it? I suppose I call, and then she flips over pocket aces. It's like, you're gonna slow roll me? Like, come on.
Oh no.
But that's free poker, I guess.
It's hard to say what was going through their head, right?
Yeah. I've played a couple local other tournaments around. I did end up playing a 701 and won that last January in Harwood. Then Midwest Poker Tour. I think they're out of Bismarck. I took one of those down in Ellendale. So it was 32 people. Dakota Poker Tour ended up taking a second place and a couple final tables. So
does your wife play those too, or just you?
She's played a number of them.
Okay.
Both her and I ended up being at a different final table with the Midwest Poker Tour in Ashley. She was the bubble, and they paid the bubble there. She ended up getting just over her money back. So, but yeah, I like to at least pay the bubble, because it's like you sit there all day and at least get your money back. But
yeah, it always feels to me like the tournaments are all pretty top heavy too, which if you're the one that's winning, you're excited that it's top heavy. But if you've been playing for 6, 7, 8 hours, sometimes you want to just get a little payback too.
Right. A lot of them are you pay for every 9 players, and I'm like, I like to probably, in my mind, it would be like better if you pay the top one for every 6, but then you don't get those big prize pools, the big top end prize pool. So
what do you think your future holds for poker? Sounds like you guys are getting closer to empty nesters. Do you think you're going to start playing more when that happens? Travel a little more, play some bigger events? What do you think the future holds?
I think that would be nice. Yeah, keep doing the local smaller events, and then build the bankroll up, and then be able to go do a couple more bigger events. I go into like Rapid City, South Dakota, or some of these RPT events. We both ended up playing one of the RPT events that was down at the Dakota Magic Casino. She lasted a little longer than I did.
I heard they had a really nice turnout for that tournament.
They did, yeah.
Hopefully they continue that. I wouldn't mind making a trip down there for that one as well.
The unlimited rebuys, that could get a little costly if you're up to firing more bullets, but
yeah,
especially that big one was a $600 buy-in with unlimited rebuys. It was a little bigger than I wanted to risk at the time.
Yeah.
I played like the 220 event, and I was only in for one bullet. And then I went and played the cash game afterwards, and yeah, it didn't go so good. They were playing Big O. I had never played Big O before, so wasn't sure.
I'm not good at those mixed game situations.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much just donating money if I try that. So
I like the mixed game if I can play against people that don't necessarily know what they're doing, because I can kind of figure it out. When I used to play at the Dakota Magic, they had a Raz tournament for a while, or a horse tournament where they played Hold'em, then Omaha, Raz, 7-card stud, and then 7-card stud or 8 or better. And I could do better than most of them in 4 of those games for sure.
Yeah, you played a lot of those at your local casino, right?
Yeah.
What do you like to do outside of poker? Do you have any other hobbies?
I work.
Okay.
No, that's probably the biggest one. I donate, or we do a lot of donating of our time for the local food pantry and the church. So, yeah, the food pantry, we actually did a poker tournament for them last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We've got a Chalk Fest in Wahpeton in the summertime.
Chalk Fest?
Chalk Fest, where they bring in local artists and they actually do drawings and stuff, and like artists from all over, and they do these big drawings. They block off the street and like do these murals, and then people can walk by and see them, and then they stay for a number of days, and then people drive over them, and it's a pretty cool event. We had a 701 came and did a tournament there, and there was like 40 to 50 players. First prize was like, I think they chopped it at $2,200. It was a $200 buy-in. So
you'll have to let me know when that is the next time. I would like to come play that and check out the Chalk Fest. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a win-win, I think, and to bring people to town and see that event, and then also have a good time playing cards. So
yeah, and then a certain percentage of that prize pool goes to the pantry, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was 20. Well, yeah, they take 20%, and then obviously there's some handling fees.
That's a good cause, and it'd be neat to see that event.
Yeah,
it seems like every community around this area has some sort of a summer festival, but I hadn't heard of that one.
Yeah.
We'll have to check it out this next summer.
Yeah.
If we ever get to summer. It's so cold here.
Right.
I don't know if we're ever going to get there.
That's right.
Just kind of looking through, we covered a lot, gone by super fast. Is there any shout outs you'd like to make, or any topics we didn't touch on that you wanted to touch on?
I'll give a shout out to my buddy Charles. He's the guy that I usually talk poker with, and he's homebound. So I went and just hung out with him so his wife could go play bingo, on Friday nights every once in a while. And I sit there and I play the free roll, and then I give him the play-by-play. So, and, it's like he's playing along with me. And then we ended up getting him signed up for FPN so he could play the free roll. And the first night that he played, he ended up getting first. So it was pretty cool.
Well, that's what it's all about. Anything else that we want to touch on?
No, I think, the free poker is great because, you can hone your skills, and, if you've got a different different theory you want to try, you can just try it there. If you want to just start sliding the big stack in every time, see how it works out for you. If you want to try bluffing, people do that. So
Yeah, definitely agree with you. It's a great place to try out new strategies. It's a great place to meet cool people, build relationships. Yeah, I have nothing negative to say about it. It's been a joy to our lives for sure. Sounds like it has been to yours too.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. It brings, you meet a lot of different people, a lot of new faces, and some are there just for the socialization, and some really take it seriously, and some almost take it too seriously. There's some people get really upset, and I'm like, geez, it's just cards, man.
We'll be here again next week.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, totally agree. Well, I guess I think we could wrap this up. Thank you, Eric, for taking the time to join us today on the final table, sharing your stories and some of the personal side of poker with our audience. We appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. It was fun.
Well, everyone, if you enjoyed this podcast, please take a moment to share, like, and subscribe so we can continue to share interesting and fun stories with poker fans. Until next time, be kind to others and live just a little bit lucky. Thanks again, Eric.
Thanks, Joel.
Take care.
You too.